Accountability. And this is where sometimes we get hung up because we're embarrassed, we're ashamed, we just don't know. Right. And we talked about earlier, you don't know what you don't know, but you do need to learn. Accountability is huge.
Hey, Anna, do you think people are listening?
Yeah, why wouldn't they be? We make business so fun.
Don't we? In that case, let's introduce ourselves.
Hey, it's Anna and Selena and the 15-ish minute coffee chat podcast. Talking business doesn't have to be boring, so dive into our coffee chat conversations and learn something new for your small business.
All right, this is what we do. This is what we do.
Small business finance operations. How do you feel when I say those words? I had to say it slow for effect, you guys. Do you want to hide your head in the sand or make excuses for this or that? No matter your response now, you don't have to stay in that place. Today's conversation is about 4 new ways to approach finances that will help you feel more confident as a small business owner. It's all about the 4 essential pillars for small business finances on today's 15-ish minute coffee chat episode with Anna and Selena. 12 seasons of helping entrepreneurs and small business owners build more profitable businesses.
12.
We're going to get that down. Look,
12. Okay.
When we say taxes or finances, does it not like just make most business owners that do it on their own kind of, some are just built for it, right?
Some are. It makes me want to do this. Don't look at me.
I know. No. Right. So true. So true.
I'm willing to do that on this show just for effect because that is really how I feel. Like, don't look at me. Don't talk to me about it. Don't ask me any questions.
Yeah. No. And I love that we have the guest on today, Lisa Balstad, like from Busting My Budget, because I think we have to normalize these kind of conversations about finances and it being okay, because sometimes you just feel like, oh, I'm a bad finance person, so therefore I don't want to talk about it because I can't handle it. But I just think like having these conversations about finance in whatever capacity should be something we talk about. So I'm super glad Lisa's here. Yeah, especially with the 4 pillars, right?
Okay. I really loved what Lisa put in her intake forms. Before we get going too far, I want to drop in the chat our call to action today. We want to know from everyone that's currently listening to us right now.
Yeah.
Are you confident in your business finance operations? Okay. I'm just going to be like honest right now. The answer is absolutely not for me, right? There's a lot of things that go behind that. Like I'm nervous I'm doing it wrong. I'm nervous I'm not keeping the right records. I'm nervous I don't have the right information. Oh, I'm nervous I forgot to pay this small business tax that I didn't know about, because you don't know what you don't know. 100%. Sometimes if you're DIYing it and you're not using a professional CPA or a finance person or a bookkeeper or somebody like that, then there's a lot of things that make me say, no, I can't possibly feel really confident that I'm doing it all right. What about you?
And that can, look, that's how I did feel. And I just wasn't smart about it in the beginning of my business. When I finally took a leap and I said, you know what, I'm making enough. I hired a CPA and she gave me definitely so much food for thought. And so I do feel confident, and she's good. She's like my mother, right? Do we really need that? Put it back on the store. You know what I mean? And is this something you need to have in your business? And I do need somebody like that, because we were just sharing with Lisa before we came on the type of people we are. My husband, I'll start with him. My husband is don't spend any money. And I'm like, spend all the money, right? Having somebody like my CPA who I love, she just really checks me. And I'm not as scared, but I still don't like the conversation because I just don't feel strong in it sometimes. Again, this is good to have Lisa come on.
Exactly. So if you're listening, give us a thumbs up, a thumbs down, an in the middle somewhere. Let us know where you stand as far as your confidence level.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's read Lisa's bio and get her up here. All right. So Lisa Balstad, the CEO and founder of Bustin' My Budget. I love that
Yeah,
name.
I do too.
It's fun. She's the mother of two, wife, martial artist, and entrepreneur. Lisa knows firsthand the struggles of managing finances, but through her own experiences has learned the skills to overcome financial difficulties and wants to share them with you. What Lisa's personalized coaching approach, she meets with you where you are. No shame, no judgment, no guilt. Love that. Whether it's through her 7-week coaching program or her Money Talk Nights, Lisa helps women identify their money behaviors and beliefs to transform their financial futures. Without a
And
can I just
yeah,
up? I mean, are we
yes, let's bring Lisa up.
okay? Here she comes.
Hi, Lisa. Welcome to the show.
Yay.
Lisa, are you going to bust my budget today?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I love, and also I don't know how I skimmed past martial artist.
Right.
I want to be with you wherever I travel because I feel like I'd be like, don't assume because you think we're ladies that we can't handle ourselves. I'm like, Lisa, it's gonna take you down.
Selena's going to throw you in the line of fire. That's what you're here for. Protect me.
That's right.
And she's also gonna bust your budget, so listen up, right? I'll say all the things. I love this. Welcome to the show, Lisa. We're so excited to have you here. We love to start our shows with whatever is in your cup right now, but we bring that up and we do a little coffee cup selfie here, or water, or
Yeah.
I love
Okay, I
it. What
brought
does it say?
You've been eating my bubble gum again, haven't you?
Oh,
Sounds like my dog. I love it. That's the best cup I've seen so far. Oh my gosh. I love it.
I was like, yeah,
very
I'm
boring
bringing this one.
now.
I know.
My boring
Mine's
cup.
not as fun. Mine's just all about Alaska, which is a
Right.
beautiful state,
Oh.
but still. Okay, we're gonna hold
Right.
up our mugs and take a little selfie, but on 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Beautiful.
Oh, wait, hold on, Lisa. We gotta do this again. Anna forgot to bring up the coffee cup selfie banner.
Oh my gosh.
Because we're so excited. Yeah, okay, there we
On the
go.
job
Okay.
already. Okay.
One more. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
problem.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect.
Cheers. All right,
Yeah,
let's get
cheers.
this rolling and let's get to know a little bit about Lisa and what she does. Let's start the questions, Anna.
Yeah. So our questions isn't really a set of questions today. When Lisa did her intake form, she had put in there 4 pillars, 4 essential pillars for small business finances. And when we read through them, we really loved what she had to say. So what we want to do today is go through those 4 pillars and just talk about each one individually, why it's so essential for small business owners or entrepreneurs to think about, and how to implement that then in your current processes so you can walk away feeling more confident.
Yeah. Wait, Anna, can I pause for 1 second? I just want to see what Lisa thinks about how we responded to our call to action question that we put out to the audience. Did you feel that's very typical of people saying that they don't like to talk about it? I'm so curious.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Especially women. I think we've been conditioned not to talk about finances too much or to talk about them in how we're saving money, but not necessarily like just talk about it. Hey, where are you spending money in your business, or where do you struggle with finances in your business? That those kind of open, honest conversations that are hard to start, quite honestly, right? And so I think
Yeah.
it's finding that group of people that you're comfortable with.
I feel like it's been a social faux pas to mention money, period, right? At all. But that is starting to change, especially with this new generation of employees and workers that are coming in, where they are having conversations that when I was in school, you didn't talk about that at all. But I've also recognized the older I got and the longer I've owned my business, who do you get the answers from if you're never having the conversation, right? Then you just sit and stew in unknowing land, and that's no good for anybody.
And you feel like you're the only one with that struggle, when the reality is almost everybody has some kind of financial struggle at some point. And it may not be that they're in a financial wreck. It just may be, I don't know what to do. I'm running my business. I have money coming in. I don't know what to do. Like, how do I manage it? How do I handle that?
Yeah, exactly. Let's jump into the first.
Yeah,
let's jump into the first pillar, which is awareness. Talk to us about awareness.
I think that's key. Anytime we're talking about finances, whether it's personal or in our businesses, the awareness piece, oftentimes when we don't look at the numbers in our mind, we can make them really bad, or maybe we make them better. That kind of ostrich in the sand, the head in the sand kind of picture. So I think the first thing is just awareness and taking that on, not giving yourself guilt or shame, just being like, these are numbers, right? These are numbers. They're very inanimate objects, but it's, let's see where we're at. And I think sometimes just that little step people will be like, okay, this isn't as bad as I thought, or I'm going to be okay. And we can't make any changes if we don't know where you're at.
No,
Okay.
I love that, because that's exactly what my CPA did for me, is making me aware. And looking at her on the Zoom call when we were going through our P&L, and she's okay. And you're so right. I love that pillar. That should be part of the finance foundation, right?
Yeah. Now I do want to dig a little deeper. When you say awareness, like what are the things that you should be looking at as a small business owner? What are there little categories, specific categories you say be aware of this and this that you could outline for someone, or is it just a general understanding of where your finances stand?
I think obviously you start with the general understanding, but then maybe you need to dig deeper. If you have more than one stream of revenue, maybe you're looking at which stream is generating which amount of income, and then looking at your expenses, like your fixed costs or your variable. We talked about, we use ConvertKit, and that's something you pay monthly or yearly, however you're set up, but that's a business cost. But then it may be like, hey, this training's coming up. This could really help me with something I need in my business. I think it's just looking at all of that, initially looking at all of it together. And then you can maybe take it piece by piece. And maybe when you look at that, you're like, oh, I put a lot of time into this revenue stream, but I'm not getting much back. Is that something I should continue or not? The numbers are going to help you make those kind of decisions.
Yeah. If
Numbers don't lie, Lisa. Numbers
Right.
don't lie.
And sometimes we don't want to look because maybe we're very passionate about that, and that's fine. But I think you need to know the reality of, you can be passionate about it and do it, but realize it's not adding to your income.
And that I think is so important, right? You can be passionate and do it, but recognize you're making a conscious choice to spend on some time on something that's not profitable necessarily. So I love that piece of it, because it does enable you to say, I'm making a choice to continue to do this or to not do this. I'm making a choice to put time, energy, and more money towards this, right? And I think that alone is very empowering for a small business owner, and would make them feel more confident in being able to say, I understand my finances. I know where I'm at, right?
You get that peace of mind.
Yeah.
You get through the initial scary part, right? Oh God, I don't want to look at the numbers. But then but once you do, at least you're like, okay, I know where I'm at. And maybe I'm okay, or maybe I'm not where I want to be, but at least I know where I'm at.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so from awareness, we bring in mindfulness. Okay, they're like similar concepts. So, how would you differentiate awareness and mindfulness?
That's a great question. So I think awareness is just that general. Oops, I just lost an earbud. General.
Such is life, right? It's
I know.
yeah, let's say that.
Is that just that general piece initially, just being aware of those numbers, knowing those numbers, taking a look, diving in. Now, as we start going, okay, now we're making choices, like we alluded to. We're going to make choices on how we're spending or where we're putting our time. And when I work with clients in their personal life, I encourage them before they spend to go through this little set of 6 questions, just to help you be mindful of your purchase. And so I can go ahead and talk about those questions.
Yeah.
Yes, I would love.
Okay. The first is, am I making this purchase to alter my mood? No judgment, just, you know what, am I feeling crappy and I'm buying this because I think it's going to make me feel better? We're all guilty of that at times. It's just to be like, and then if you say yes, then it's, am I okay with that? If you're okay with that, you move forward with the purchase. If not, it stops and makes you think, oh, I am feeling down, and so I'm just buying this to try to pick me up, but I don't really want that item. Okay. The second one, and this one I've heard from another financial person, was put it into something you like. And so their example was taco dollars. And I love this. They're like, okay, if let's just round up, a taco is going to cost you $5. It's like a deluxe taco. And if I'm looking at a pair of shoes that's $50, that's 10 taco dollars. And so it's giving it, am I willing to give up 10 tacos to buy this pair of shoes, or would I rather have my 10 tacos?
I
It
love
just,
that so much.
and I love that too. And you can put it whatever item you love. It could be lattes, it could be tacos, it could be whatever. But it just brings it into a different perspective. And it's, oh, okay, am I willing to do that? Maybe I am. Maybe I want this item so much, and that's okay. I don't need those tacos for a while. But I think just bringing that into perspective, it shifts our thinking, and it's not put the item on the counter, pay for it, that kind of motion without thought behind it.
I love that so much. And everything you're saying, I know you said it's about personal life, but that can easily translate into business. Okay.
Absolutely.
Sorry. I had to interject because I was like, that excited me, Lisa.
Okay.
So, I want to ask our audience, what would you put your bucks into? I want to know.
Oh, yeah.
I love taco dollars because I love tacos, right? But
Yeah.
I know Selena's might be coffee. Yeah.
It is 100%. My husband always he's how many times do we need to skip coffee to get this? And I'm like, we'll never skip coffee. But but you're right. No, but that's so relatable to understanding the need for buying something. How really important is it? So
Right.
Yeah.
And we all have we all have a budget. Nobody has endless, even if you're very wealthy, you don't have endless amounts of cash. At some point that cash ends. So it's just like, where's your priority? Where do you want to spend it? Right. And that's what that question helps determine. The next one is to evaluate the purchase. And I like to use a winter coat on this. Now I live in Wyoming where we have winter, right? And so if I'm looking at a winter coat and it's $100, $150, I can be like, okay, but we have cold weather from November to April, and that's so many months and so many days. And so I could break it down by a per use cost. And so $150 on a winter coat when I live in Wyoming, a per use cost, that's nothing. Like, to me, that's totally worth it. But if I'm the opposite, for me, would probably be like a swimsuit, right? I may not, unless I'm going on vacation or something, I may not use a swimsuit a lot. So I may be like, I don't want to spend quite as much because my per use of that item is going to be higher. So it's just a way to help you justify, or not really justify, just help you understand, is that purchase important to me? And the same with business. It's easy, right? It's so easy to get caught up in. For me, it's education, right? Oh, I'll take this little course or this online thing. And that's all great. But sometimes it's okay, what am I going to get from this? How many times am I going to use what I learned from this? Mm-hmm. And is it going to really help me advance my business the way that I want to?
Okay, so this is super funny because Spendy Selena has bought the same course twice before because she didn't realize she bought it once. Right? Whereas I analyze every aspect of that course before I will make a decision to purchase it. Just like,
and let's just say sometimes the course expires upon her multitude of research. So just putting it there.
If you could not have two more opposite financially motivated people in a room with you, if you tried.
The best of friends. Yeah, no. And just a side note, it is so funny that I did buy the course twice, but it prompted actually, and it's Dara Sklar. We actually had her on as a guest. She's a Google workspace expert. And we always just have a good joke about how I loved her course so much I bought it twice. You know what I mean? Anyway, good point. Good point. Thanks, Hannah.
Yeah.
She's like, thanks for ratting me out.
I under the bus a little bit. So anyway, but I do love this aspect because, okay, so you were talking about this, right? And I spent a week in Chicago at the beginning of January of this year, and I had to go buy a winter coat. And we're there, and I'm like, man, these things are like $150, and I'm going to use it for 7 days because it doesn't usually get cold enough in Texas, right? So I spent my $150, got my winter coat. It was well worth the 7 days since it was over that massive freeze where it went down to 0 degrees. So well worth the money I put into it. But it was funny because that was where my mindset went. It was like, what's the value of this item versus the use I'm going to get out of it? And what you're talking about here really is motivations, right? Spending motivations that people have
Mhm.
and becoming aware of what's your priority. Is it the taco bucks? Is it the use value that you're going to get from it, and being able to decipher those things for yourself in your business, I think is a really powerful thing.
And I think that's, you give some great examples and it's awesome. And it's easy as a business owner, especially when you're new. I can remember it's, oh, I need this and I need that and I need this program. And then pretty soon you're like, I'm not even using these things. What am I doing? And so I think it's just that taking a minute, kind of slowing down, asking yourself about the purchase before you make it.
Yeah,
So
no,
then,
the mindfulness play, right, is it makes so much sense.
Yes, it totally does. Okay, are we ready to move on to number 3, Lisa?
number 4,
Oh,
number 3, the pillar, or okay.
Wait, do you have a 4th question? Ask your
Yeah,
4th.
Yeah, I have,
yeah,
Got
yeah.
it.
I
there's
want to
6
hear it.
questions.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I want to
Okay.
hear it.
Yes.
So
We're
the 4th question is, am I making this purchase out of habit or routine? A lot of times you get in that grind of, oh, I'm going to go grab my afternoon coffee or my afternoon snack. That's great if it's, I need this snack to get me through the rest of the day. But it's sometimes we just get in that habit and it's, oh, we're going there, we're buying that, and we're not even thinking about our purchase. So it's just to take a minute and be like, is this something I really want? Or is it just something I do every day or every week or whatever?
That also is a really good one because I
Yeah,
think we do things out of routine just naturally.
no. So when I was back home in Hawaii and worked my restaurant job, one of the things I did on routine, and when you say this, I realized there's sometimes I didn't need it. I popped into Starbucks, which was right next to the restaurant, grabbed my coffee, and then went into the offices. And I realized sometimes I never finished it, or do you know what I mean? I realized I just liked the routine of it.
We're creatures of habit, right? It's, we just fall
Yeah.
into that cycle. And I'm not saying it's bad to have that coffee or that
No.
snack. None of that. It's just, are you doing it because you really want it? Or are you
Yeah.
doing it because you just fall into this routine?
Yeah, no, totally. And when you say that too, and I don't know if this is going to be any of the other questions, sometimes it was like I always saw my favorite baristas and I felt like a guilt if I didn't go. Do you know what I mean? How silly, but
Right.
I loved seeing them. They gave me the hype that I needed for my shift. And then, so sometimes I like it was based out of guilt.
Hey,
Okay.
it's okay. Now you're aware of that, right? Now
I
you're
am.
aware of
I
that.
am. I am. Okay. Next questions that you have on
Okay.
that list because they're good.
And hours worked. So how many hours worked is this item costing me? If you're making $25 an hour, you're buying $100 item, is it worth half a day's work? Is it worth 4 hours of work? It's
Okay.
just something to put that into perspective. It's, am I willing to give up X hours of work to buy this item? Yes. Or
You just spoke
maybe
my
not.
Yeah, you just spoke my love language when it comes to money. Like, my time is valuable, right? And sometimes it applies the other way, right? Am I willing to do that work for that amount of money as a business
Right.
owner? When you're value pricing yourself, I think this comes into play the exact same way. My work, my expertise, if somebody values it at 20 bucks an hour and I'm valuing it at 100 bucks an hour, that's a massive difference. And you have to be aware of that time aspect and the value you put into something. So anyway, I love that. Great question.
Right. Yeah. And that's a great point, Anna, that you brought up. It's like your time is, there's value on your time and your expertise. And we need to be okay with being like, no, my time and my expertise are worth this.
Mm-hmm.
So great.
Yeah.
Okay. Last one, your dollars vote. Have you voted with your dollars? Okay. Are you supporting businesses that align with what your spending values are? Maybe it's small businesses, maybe it's local businesses, maybe it's women owned or minority owned businesses, all of those things, depending on what you want to support. But sometimes, again, I think we get caught up in just going somewhere and not thinking about how that purchase is affecting that business owner.
Yes.
This is my favorite question, I think, because I think it just really reminds you to put really good thought into that purchase and how your dollars will impact that business and your wallet, and so that you feel good about the purchase. That's my favorite
Lisa,
question.
if you don't have a download that is the 6 questions of mindful spending, you need to create it. I'm telling you right now, because these 6 questions are so good and thought provoking, and they cover the full spectrum of motivations. The last one really is about that social aspect, and we see people turning from mass businesses to these small mom and pop shops, right? They want to support their community. They want to support the small business owner, the military spouse business owner. Yay, that's a personal favorite of mine since we are one, right? Things like that, where you are voting with your dollars. And that's a powerful statement to make. That's powerful.
That is powerful. And I think we often forget that one. And it's an important one. And if you talk to any local like chamber of commerce, they're going to tell you when you spend your dollars local, like how many times that dollar turns over and how much it helps your local economy. And it's,
No, I 100% love that question, because I think that sometimes we forget that. And
yes,
that was great.
I know.
I'm going to re-record. I'm going to go over this recording later and be like, let's go through these questions again.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes. We're going to do this download together. When we promote your show, we're going to throw this out there, and it's going to come, and we're just going to do it because I love this section right here. Could have been an entire show on its own, talking about these 6 questions, because that's how powerful they truly are. I love that. Okay, because we're at 27 minutes right now. So we're going to jump into number 3. Tell us what your third one is.
Purposefulness. You want to be, I always say, don't wonder where your money went, tell it where to go, right? So if you're intentional, if you're purposeful.
I think we lost Lisa. I'm not quite sure what's going on. Selena, you're muted right now.
No, yeah, we're gonna here, I'm gonna change scenes, and then we'll wait for Lisa's camera to catch up, and we're gonna talk about that. Kate, she just like clicked off at such an integral statement of stop wondering where your money is, but tell it where to go.
Yeah.
And being in control of there she is. We see you moving, Lisa. Yay. Lisa, I don't know if you could hear, but I literally am just like loving that statement of don't wonder where your money is, but tell it where to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, sorry. Okay, let's carry on because that was fabulous. Everything you're saying is wonderful. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think it's great. I think it's so easy to just let our money go somewhere and not really direct it. And it just changes how you interact with money. It changes how you feel when you're the one directing it to where you want it to go based on your values. Right.
And I feel like that plays it. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Selena.
No, I was just going to jokingly say my daughter is way better at that than me. So she's 17, Lisa. Anyway, go ahead, Anna.
Yeah, I like to tell my money where to go, which is why I do so much research. Like this one, being purposeful about where my spending is. And Selena's husband, I think, would be like, yeah, that's why we are. I'm just going to use the words Scrooge McDucky about it. But you know what? It's not that bad all the time. Like I'll spend money where I find purpose for it, right? Where I see the value. Going back to those mindfulness questions, right? I apply those to like my process of saying this is worth me buying. And as a small business owner, when you are bootstrapping or DIYing, and you really have to be cognizant of those spending habits, right? This is a great trio that we have so far. I feel like purposefulness also flows directly into our number 4.
Yes.
Which is accountability. Talk to us about
Lisa.
Accountability. And this is where sometimes we get hung up because we're embarrassed, we're ashamed, or we just don't know, right? And we talked about earlier, you don't know what you don't know, but you do need to learn. Accountability is huge. So we're not designed to go it alone, right? As humans, we're designed to be together, to work together. Sometimes our culture tries to teach us don't do that, but really that's who we are. And so get an accountability partner, get a friend or business partner, get somebody, some kind of support network that can help you be accountable.
And I want to ask you a question about that. So, because finances are so private for some people, like, how do you find a partner to help you be accountable without sharing all the details of the dollars? You know what I mean? What have you
Mhm.
found a good tactic in that regards?
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Selena, because it is. You don't want to share maybe all your ins and outs with everybody. I think you have to find somebody that you trust, obviously, and have a connection with. And then just maybe talk in general terms about things. And maybe as you develop a relationship, you get a little more specific, but maybe you don't. But it's still holding yourself accountable. It's, hey, I want to start invest, let's just say, in a personal level or even a business level. I'm going to start investing. And they're going to be like, okay, have you determined like how much you want to invest or how you're going to go about doing that? Do you need help like finding that strategy? And so then it's, you don't necessarily have to talk about the numbers with them, but more kind of the concept. But or hey, let's make sure we're on track with our budgets. Just do a quick check-in, like how's your budget? Are you on track? Are you off track? Did something happen? Did something unexpected come up? Just to have that piece where you're bouncing back and forth with somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as somebody who's worked in the freelance world for doing it in that area, I will say also to just to challenge that mindset a little bit of I can't share numbers, right?
Mm.
Because one of the most valuable conversations freelancers have is how do you price yourself? And being able to set some industry standards for your business, your industry, what you do, especially as a small business owner, right? So you aren't devaluing your product or your service, and being able to say, feel comfortable with where you're at. And when we're so secretive about those numbers, sometimes it creates this rift where somebody's paying me $500 an hour and you $40 an hour, and it may be just as good
Yeah.
product. It's
Yeah.
really like this to me, this comes back to sometimes that social accountability too, of like
Mhm.
supporting other people that are doing what you're doing,
Yeah. Yeah.
collaborating over competition, kind of
Mhm.
that idea of good business, good
Yeah.
leadership and business ownership as well.
I want to just add to that real fast is like I did come from a generation, I'm almost 50 years old. And when I took on my first manager position in a corporate entity, the first thing they said when they gave me my salary was, do not discuss this with anybody else, or you could be
Mhm.
terminated. This is confidential. Right. And I know back in the 90s and the early 2000s, that was a way of making sure that discussion didn't happen amongst employees so that the big bosses didn't have to pay more or pay less or whatever it is. But I spent 20 years with that mentality where you don't share it because I'm fearful of something. And so I'm learning myself to come out of that and know that it is okay to share because there are some helpful reasons why. Exactly what you had just said, Anna. At the end of my time, at the end of my 20 years, I remember the brand new young manager. We had a good 12-year gap between our ages. And he walked in and he just sat down and he says, hey, I'm making this much. Is that cool? Do you think they're sticking it to me? And I went, oh, you just did the taboo. Like you're not supposed to talk about it. You know what I mean? But I also realized he was making more than I ever did when I first
Mm.
started. And you're right, Anna, right? Because sometimes it does bring that hostility up, but that's the company culture that they're trying to create by not sharing. But I just, yeah, like you said, mentioning and talking about it, just
Yeah.
getting into that mindset.
And
It's
I
not
think you guys bring up such great points because we have been conditioned not to talk about it. Don't brag if you make too much money or if you make a lot of money. And it's like, why can't we be proud of what we're doing? So it does come back to that. I know the corporate world, right? And that's a control issue, right? If they
yeah.
don't talk about
Yeah.
what each other's making, then
Hmm.
some of them aren't going to be making as much. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
I think it's a great point. It's breaking that taboo and being like, I'm
Yeah.
not being boastful, but you know what? I do hard work and I make really good money. That
yeah.
should not be
Yes.
a comment that's looked down on.
No.
Right.
What I
Hmm.
love too is it takes me back to what you said in your bio, that you as a financial consultant, when you talk about it with people, there's no guilt, there's no shame, there's no judgment, right? And I think as small business owners, we need to implement those ideas when we are having
Mhm.
conversations about money. It's okay if I make less than so and so or more than so and so. We should still be able to have a conversation. This does not mean blast your income out, right, on social media
Right.
and put a big like graphic out there for everyone to know. That's not what we're talking about here. But you can have good conversations that bring value and meaning into your business that make you more confident about what you're doing and where you're at. I love these 4 pillars because they're
Yeah.
so not finance oriented. When you stop and like you would say finances equals mindfulness, like you just don't even
Right.
put those
Yeah.
two necessarily together all the time.
Yeah, you definitely can put into, I think what you shared today, Lisa, is you really help people put into practice in a very easy way where they can pull their head out of the sand
Mm,
and have little conversations about it, right? And
yeah.
again, I'm going to go back to the awareness in your 6 questions. That was probably my most favorite part of this whole conversation because it just really it just resonated with me.
Great.
Thank you for sharing that. Okay.
Let's
I don't
pull
know.
up our toolkit. Let's
Yeah.
find out what else can Lisa give
Yeah.
us, where we
Yeah.
find
Yes.
her, all the things.
Yes.
Yeah. So the 13 Common Money Pits guide is just, it's a little guide. It's going to give you 13 different points,
Mhm.
excuse me, of where your budget may be leaking, where you may be
Mhm.
leaking money, where money may be
Mhm.
sucking from your budget, things like
Yeah.
subscriptions, different costs like that. And so
Mhm.
it just points out those items, gives you a little reminder. I encourage you to go over your finances, both personal and with your business, and
Yeah.
look for any of those money pits.
Yeah. I love everything you talked about because I think, again, if you start personally and have great habits there, it can carry over into your business, especially when you're running it. You
I just
guys, yeah, go ahead, Anna.
I just want to remind everyone, if you are not the financial wizard here, she's done all the work for you. All you have
Yeah.
to do is get the guide and go through the 13 areas. You don't have to come up with them on your own. That's why I
Right.
love the value of what you're giving out here. Common money pits, I don't have to think it through. What might be a money pit in my business?
Yeah.
Lisa's
Right.
done the work for you. So go grab this guide.
Yeah, exactly. So, Lisa, tell everybody where the best places that you love to hang out and if they want to continue conversations with you.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love it if they'd visit my website and get on my email list. That's always great because we're in control of our email list, not the social media platforms. But I do try to be, Instagram is probably my strongest place. I do try to put some information out there for people. And I'm also a little bit on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Find me.
Yeah,
All all of
all
these
of the
links will be
places.
available. We're going to
Mhm.
put them in our blog where we keep our show notes and a recording of this video. We'll make sure that they are on the descriptions on YouTube and on the podcasts where you can find all of these links and information for Lisa. Thank you so much, Lisa, for being here with us today. Thank you, everyone, for joining our show. 4 essential pillars of finance. Can't wait to see you on the next 15-ish minute coffee chat.
Thanks, Lisa. Bye,
Awesome.
everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Oh my gosh. Did they actually make it to the outro music?
I told you this would work, Selena.
Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in to today's show. Now head on over to annaandselena.com to listen to more of the 15-ish minute coffee chat. We've got over 100 episodes, all geared to making your businesses more fun and profitable.